Hey Divi Nation, welcome to a brand new Divi use case live stream where each week we show you how to add new design and functionality to your Divi websites. And today we're going to be showing you how you can create from scratch a sliding push menu using Divi and the Divi Theme Builder. Go ahead and check out the video description for more information on this use case, and let's go ahead and check it out. So real quick, I just want to welcome everyone, and let's just do a quick sound check. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. The stream's coming in well for you guys. Let us know where you're from. And hopefully I can get all your questions answered. If not, we can help each other out and answer the questions as we go along. Like I said, we are going to be building a sliding or slide down push menu. It's got some unique functionality here. Right here on my screen, I can show you a little preview of where we're going with this use case. As you can see, I clicked the toggle button there, and that menu slides down and also pushes down the content of the page simultaneously for a cool effect. And so that's where we're going. Let's do a quick thumbs up. All right, thanks Milton. Hello, Grant from New Jersey. Magus from Poland. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Martin. I don't know what the weather's like over there for you guys, but it has been really hot over here in Houston, Texas. I live near Houston, Texas, and the humidity is like 1,000%, and it's pretty hot. Looking forward to getting started here. Hey, Matt. Matt asks the question, can it be used on mobile only? Yes, it can be. You'll just have to have another, that could be tricky. If you're using a default template, you'll just have to, a custom global header. You can switch them out on mobile. So yeah, that could be possible. Robert from Mexico City, welcome. Richard from Austin, all right, pretty close to me. Martin, you're welcome. Good to be here too. Samit from India, welcome. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to jump in and get started while we're still saying hello. Hello, Joshi from Nepal. Let's see. All right, so again, if you're just joining us, I do want to welcome you to this week's Divi use case live stream. And today we're going to be showing you how to design from scratch a slide down push menu. And here's what it's going to look like. We're going to be using Divi from scratch, using the Divi Theme Builder to create it so we can add the menu to our entire site. And the functionality here is, from the initial load of the page, you're going to have this kind of main header bar here across the top of the page. And the idea is to hide the main, navigation menu elements initially. And then once you toggle this open, you can see all of the additional links in there. And of course, you can fill this with whatever you want down the road. If you want to use it for something else, you can definitely do that. I'm just using, these are actually buttons, Divi buttons. I'm just using and putting them in a nice column layout here, adding some display flex to it to make sure it all aligns nicely and stays in place. And I'll show you how to do that. If you are a beginner, this use case live stream will probably be a little bit more technical than some of our others. So just bear with me. I'll try to answer all the questions we have. But in order to get some of this cool functionality, we do have to add some code, and I'll show you how to do that as we go along. All right. Awesome. I'm going to stop stalling here and jump in and get going. I'm going to first go to my theme builder here, and to go there, you simply go to Divi Theme Builder from the WordPress dashboard. And we're going to be adding a new global header to our website. And of course, if you're following along and you want to do this on your own site, please be sure to do a test site for this first. You don't want to add any global headers to your live site because you might mess something up. So you're better off using a test site for this. So I'm going to click Add Global Header here. And from the drop down here, I'm going to click Build from Scratch or Build Global Header. And then I'm going to click the option to build from scratch, just like we would in a normal Divi page when designing one with the Divi Builder. And then I'm going to hold off on adding my row just for a moment. And I'm going to style this initial default section that's been added here. And what we're going to do is give it a background color. I'm going to go with that dark blue. You can, of course, add any background color you want. All right, so I'm going to save that out, and then I'm going to open it back up because I wasn't supposed to save it out yet because I want to add a padding to it. More specifically, I want to take out the default padding that is added to all sections by default. So I'm going to do that by setting my top and bottom padding to 0. And in order to target this first section, this is going to hold my main navigation, or I'm just going to call it my sliding push menu. That's this one here. So you see everything in that dark blue section will be the push menu, the menu that gets pushed down. So that's what I'm designing here in my first section. And so in order to target that in my code later on, I need to go to my Advanced tab and add a CSS class. I'm going to add, just call it ET push menu. All right. And then once that's done, we are going to add some custom CSS. Now, this is really for tablet and phone displays only, because what I want to do, and I'll show you it later on, but I want that menu to push all the way down and span the full width of that phone display or tablet display whenever you toggle it on the mobile. So in order to do that, I'm just going to add some custom CSS to the tablet. So I'm going to open up my responsive icon here and click on my tablet tab. Sorry. And then I'm going to paste in this code. And this is basically going to give it a calculated height of 100 VH. VH is the view width or viewport height. And so it's basically going to say when on tablet, it's going to be 100% of the view height minus the 70 pixels, which is going to be the bar here, right there, minus that bar. And it'll all make sense. I'll revisit that whenever we look at the final result on mobile, but that's necessary for that functionality. And that over scroll behavior contain, that's just for the scroll mechanism. If ever you add a lot of stuff to that menu that you need to scroll through it, it's going to allow you to do that without messing with the main page scroll. Like I said, if you're new to Divi, bear with me. I'm going to throw some more technical stuff as we go, but all you need to do is just copy and paste this code in there. If you need the code, it's going to be in the blog post that goes along with this use case that was just released this morning or today. I don't know if it's morning where you are. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my desktop view. I'm going to save this section. And now I'm going to add my row. I'm going to add a 1-column row. Now I use this trick often when I'm wanting to duplicate my design. Like right now, I'm going to be adding these buttons. So I'm adding all of these buttons in this top row here. And even though they're going to be in 5 different columns, I'm going to create 1 column initially, and then I'm going to duplicate that column with the button inside of it just to speed up the development process. It's just something I like to do. If you want to create all the columns first, you can, and then copy and paste it. That's fine as well. All right, so I created my column, but my row with my 1 column. Now I'm going to open up my row settings, and let's go ahead and go to my design tab, and let's give it a custom gutter width of 1 that takes out all of the margin between the columns that we're going to be adding, and also takes out any margin below the modules we'll add, which are the buttons. Then I'm going to do a width of 100%, and let's do max width of 1280 pixels. For padding, let's go ahead and do a top and bottom padding of 3 VH. And this is just another way to make it more responsive, especially on mobile. Cuts down that padding because the viewport height is relative to the height of the viewport, which on mobile is going to be smaller. The bottom border width, let's go ahead and give it a bottom border just on the bottom. So I'm going to click the bottom there. Adjust this. 1 pixel. And we're going to give it a white with some transparency here. So kind of like a semi-transparent white color. And can't really see it yet, but it's there. Let me go back to my row settings again, and we need to add some custom CSS. So I'm going to go to my advanced tab, custom CSS, and I use this one a lot whenever I need to use display flex on my designs. And it's just a snippet of code here that adds display flex. And I'm going to zoom in, and what this does is justifies the content and aligns the content in a way that's centered both vertically and horizontally. So that's what that's doing here. So any column within this row will be automatically vertically aligned or vertically centered within the row, and also horizontally centered within the row. Okay. In addition to aligning all of these columns by default horizontally whenever you add display flex. So that's what we're doing there. But I need to do something a little different on tablet. So I'm going to click on my tablet tab here. And I'm going to change the direction, the flex direction. So by default, that flex direction is going to be for a row, like horizontal. But on tablet, I want to go column. I want it to go vertical, downward. So because that's what we need to do on tablet. And phone should inherit the tablet code, so we can leave it at that. Go back to my desktop view. All right. For my column, let's go ahead and... Now, at this point, I like to just go ahead and open up my layers view here. And let me bring it off to the side here, open all of them. And right now I want to edit my column. I can either go to my content section of my row and click on my settings for my column to edit it there, or I can go to my layers view and click on the settings for my column there. So once I got my column settings open, I'm going to add that same snippet of CSS to the main element to my column, because I want to do the same. Not only do I want my columns to be vertically and horizontally aligned within the row, I want all the content of my column, for example, my buttons, to be vertically centered as well and horizontally centered as well. So that's what I'm doing there. Save it out. And then I'm ready to save out my row settings, and now I'm ready to add my button, my first one. So I'm gonna stop there, and I'm gonna peek over here to the comments in the chat here to make sure I'm not missing any important questions you guys may have. Hello, Robert from Croatia. Patrick, how do you make websites responsive? Well, that is a good question. It's also a very loaded question, but Divi does have these. If you're new to Divi, Divi has these built-in responsive settings that make it easy to do it without, having to resort to external CSS using those media queries, stuff like that. And I did show you some of those as we went along, but that's the trick. You adjust them on tablet and phone displays as you need at those certain breakpoints. Good question. Samit ask, why can't we use the side menu while using the theme builder? I mean, there's no video for that. The side menu while using the theme builder. Not sure what you mean by that. Maybe you can clarify what you mean by the side menu. If you're referring to the WordPress dashboard side menu or the theme customizer side menu, I'm not sure which one you're referring to, so maybe you can clarify. Sandy, is the functionality responsive for tablet and mobile? Yes, it will be. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here. In fact, I'll just go ahead and give you a sneak peek of what that looks like. Let me go ahead and open a new window here. Paste it in so I can show you. Okay, I think you can see that. So here's what it's going to look like on a mobile display. So if I click on my menu, it'll open the full width minus the bar at the bottom. It leaves room for that. And all of this, the menu items will be centered along the browser viewport. So there's the mobile display. All right, so that's where we're heading. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and keep going on to our next step, which is to add our buttons to our first row. So I'm going to start by adding a button module. And I want to, update the button text. So just put design. And let's do, here's where you would put your link URL if you want. This would be where you want the button to redirect to. Let's jump over to the design tab. And I guess we can align our buttons centered. And let's do our custom button styles. So we'll toggle that open. Let's keep it 20 default text size. I do want to make it white. So text color is going to be white. I'm going to take out the border width, set that to 0. So essentially I'm making it look like a regular link, but I'm using the button module because I want that icon to the left. And it's a much better option than using like a blurb for that. So let's do button font, wherever that is. There it is. Let's do Montserrat. And let's make it heavy weight. And let's add a button icon. So, of course, you can do whatever you want. Let's just add this one. And make sure that it is going to be displayed on the left. And also, let's make sure that it shows all the time, not just on hover. There you go. All right, it takes care of our button. And like I said before, now that I have my initial design of one of those buttons in a column, I can just simply duplicate the column and carry the duplicated button as well. So I'm going to do this from my layers view. You can see all I have to do is click. Let me zoom in for you. Maybe I can't. There we go. So all I'm doing here is duplicating the column inside my row. I'm going to do it 4 times to get a total of 5 columns and 5 buttons. All right, so now I have 5 columns, 5 buttons. That takes care of my first row. To create my second row, I'm simply going to duplicate this row that I just created. And now we can see that bottom border line there that we added. And then I'm going to open up the duplicate row. Well, actually, before I adjust the row settings, I'm going to start from scratch with one of those buttons again. So to do that, I'm just going to delete all of those columns in that duplicate row except for one, because I want to start with one button, because I'm basically going to redesign that button to look a little differently, and then I'm going to duplicate my columns again to, set however many links I want. All right, so let's first let's go ahead and open our row settings once we have our columns deleted, all but one. Let's go open the settings for that row. And let's go ahead and adjust the sizing option here. Let's do a max width of 1080 pixels, which is the default. And let's take out that bottom border that we added in the previous row. We don't need it, so let's set that to 0 pixels. And let's go ahead and adjust the column settings. That's that one column we have. Open up the column settings. And let's add a border to this. So I'm going to add a right border. That's 1 pixel. And I'm going to give it that same white with the semi-transparency there, like 20%. Okay. Save that out, and you can see it over here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's my right border. So the final design, you'll see those little, I don't know if you can see it, but there's these little dividers there, and that's basically what I'm creating. All right, so now we can update our button styles. So open the button settings, go to my design tab, open the button option group. Let's bring that down to 14 pixels, the button text size. And let's give it a little letter spacing. Let's do 2 pixels. And let's make this one semi-bold instead of heavy. And let's make it all uppercase. And let's choose not to show the button icon for those. And let's save it out. Now we're ready to duplicate our column. So let's go ahead and duplicate it. Let's do it 3 times to get a total of 4 columns with 4 buttons. You, of course, can add more. Just be aware of how that will affect the horizontal space you have when shrinking your browser window. Okay. You can see that I have one of those columns, the fourth column has a border on the right side. I need to get rid of that because we don't need it for that one. So I'm going to quickly open that column number 4, settings, take out the right border, and let's save that. And that takes care of our push menu, everything that's going to be hidden initially and then pushed or slid and pushed into view. Let's create our next section. But before I do that, I'm going to quickly look over in our chat area. All right, so a quick question from 147 Dev. When will we get more breakpoints? That is something we're working on. I know, can't give you the exact date on it, sorry. But yeah, it's something we're aware of, and we're working towards giving you guys more control over that in the Divi Builder. And then let's see. John, thanks for the love. He says, I love Divi. Sandy says, I think I missed the width you set the second row to. It's a default, 1080 pixels. All right. All right, good, guys. Let's continue on. So now we're going to create our main header bar. So to do that, we need to create a new section. So we can do that from the layers view. I'm just going to go ahead and do it regular way to add a new section. And then we're going to make a new regular section. And this is actually a good time to rename these sections over here in the layers view, like to something, for example, this could be your push menu section. And then the one we just created, we're going to be the main or header section, something like that. That way you can easily identify them later on. All right, so let's open up our section settings. Let's take out the padding on our new section here. So set the top and bottom to 0. Real simple. Let's go ahead and save that out. Let's create a new row. This time I'm not going to start with a single column. I'm actually going to do 3-column row. And before I start adding my modules, I'm going to go back into my row settings. Go to my design tab. Let's give it a custom gutter width of 1. Again, take out those margin spacing. And let's do 90% on the width here. And max width, let's just leave it as the default. And for the height, let's do 70 pixels. I am going to give it a set height here. And one of the reasons I'm giving it a set height is because I want to be able to determine for sure what the height or how I need to calculate that bar into the height of my menu, my push menu, when I push it down. Like I showed you earlier where I had that height calc 100 VH minus 70 pixels. This is the height I'm accounting for there. For my padding, I'm going to do, again, 0 on the top and bottom. And for my custom CSS, I'm going to add that display flex to align my items vertically. More technically, my columns I'm going to align vertically or centered vertically. Now I'm ready to add my buttons, or my first module, which is my main CTA button here. I'm going to add it to my left column. Actually, you know what? Let's just speed up the process. I'm going to copy this button here. Just going to copy module and then right click, paste that module right into there. And because it has the white text, I can't see it yet, but that's all right. I'm going to open up my button settings, change my button text to say sign up. Yeah. And let's go to my button text or button design options. Let's keep it as 14 pixels. That's fine. Let's go ahead and adjust the button text color to that same dark blue there. Show, let's see. Yeah, I want to show the button icon this time on this one. So set that to yes. And I'm going to adjust it so that it shows on the right, not the left. Then I'm going to give it a right arrow there. All right, nice and clean. Save that. In the center, we're going to add our logo. So I'm going to use an image module for that. So add an image module to the center column there. And we're going to use dynamic content for this. So I'm going to delete this initial default mock image. And then I'm going to hover over my image input box here. And then I'm going to click on the use dynamic content icon and then click site logo. And then it's going to pull my site logo dynamically from my website. You can also add the link to the home page here. Like most sites have a link to their home page added to the logo. You can do that as well. Let's go to my design tab to adjust the style of this image, this logo. And basically I want to align it center here, give it a centered alignment, and I'm going to give it a max height of 55 pixels. All right. Save that out. Okay. Next, we're going to add our custom hamburger navigation icon here, and that's this one. And you can see it has a like cool transition functionality, and all that can be accomplished with some custom CSS that we're going to add later on. Thought it would be cool to add it to this one. You could use just a regular icon to accomplish this, or rotate an arrow or something. But I decided to go with the more technical one for this one. But you can just use a regular icon, and just as long as you add that custom CSS to the selector or as the selector, you'll be good to go. But let's go. I'll just show you quickly how you can build this. It's actually using something that our other wonderful content creator, Daniela, was used it before, and I'm stealing it from her because I really like it. All right. Let's go open the or create a new module. We're going to use a text module for this. And you can see in the text or body content, I'm going to add this custom, or it's basically some HTML. It's basically a bunch of span tags that have a custom class, a couple of custom classes. Basically, we're going to style those span tags to create those lines that make up the hamburger nav, and then move them around whenever we click it. So that's what we need for that. I do want to give it a background color here. Let's go ahead and give it that same dark blue background. And we can't see the lines yet because we're going to add them as background in custom CSS, but I do want to size it using the built-in Divi options. So I'm going to my sizing options. Let's go ahead and give it a width of 70 pixels. And let's make it a square. So let's give it height of 70 pixels. And if you remember, my entire bar or section here has a set height of 70 pixels. So this ensures that it's going to, reach the top and bottom. Okay. Let's adjust the padding. Let's give it a 20 pixels, top and bottom, and then a 16 pixel left and right. This is adding padding to those span tags that we've yet to add the code to style yet. So, and now we need to add our custom or CSS class, which is et push menu toggle. All right. So that's going to be our menu toggle that opens our push menu there. After that, save it out. I don't think it's aligned correctly, honestly. Let me align this text module to the right. I think that's what I want. Yeah, let's go with that. All right. And let's make this button align to the left. There you go. That's better. Okay. Now we're ready to add our code. Since I want this code to be imported or excuse me, exported with this layout and so that you guys can download it on the blog post, which you can, I'm just going to add it to a code module. That way the code stays on the page and only affects this page. But actually, this isn't a page. This is actually a global header. So it will apply to the whole site because it's going to pull that code with the header on all the pages. All right, so I'm going to add it underneath my text module. So just add a new module, just add a code module here. And then I'm going to paste in my code. And I need to wrap this. All right, so in my style tag. So make sure it's wrapped in a style tag, or it's not going to work because we're actually adding it to the HTML of the page. All right, let me kind of make that larger so you can see. All right, so that's my styling. The first, all this here is actually the custom CSS that styles the hamburger nav icon, the transition effect. So that's all what that does. So you can see really the only CSS that we need for the other stuff is here. That hides the push menu with a display none, and then make the cursor look like a pointer. So real simple CSS added there. Of course, look at the blog post if you want a more detailed look at the code. And underneath my styling code, I'm going to add a script tag because I'm going to add some JavaScript or jQuery. I'm going to paste that in here. And all this code is doing is, toggling that menu down. And the key to this little slide down is this element here. So whenever that selector or the section with the class et push menu that we added, that top menu section with the dark blue background, Whenever the menu, the toggle button is clicked here, this section is going to be revealed with a slide toggle at 300 milliseconds. That's the transition speed. And it's going to add a class to that one called ET Push Menu Active, which is where we well, that's it. I'm going to stop there. You can look at the code later, but for sake of time, I'm going to stop there. So that takes care of our functionality. And let's go ahead and save it out. And let's check it out on a new, or I got to make sure and save my changes to the theme builder. And then I'm going to open the site on a new page or on a live page. And let's see if it works. There you go. So, and of course, I can show you how it looks on mobile again. But to do that, I'm going to pull in my incognito window there. And this is what it looks like. Let's go ahead and open it up. There you go. Of course, I didn't update all my links, so they all look the same, or my button text and icons. You can do that later. All right. If you want to make this menu a sticky menu so it stays at the top, I do have a way to do that. And I added it to the blog post. It's just a small snippet of CSS you can add, and I'll show you what that is. So I'm gonna go back to my theme builder, open my global header again, and I need to go find my code module. I'll pull up my layers view. I'm gonna open all of them, scroll down, find my code module, open that up, and then I'm gonna paste in this CSS within the style tag. It's just two more little snippets that add a position sticky to the header here. And that's the main header tag within, like this is in the code behind the scenes. And also an overflow Y visible to the page container. So with that, you should have a sticky menu. Although I didn't like hardcore test it out on all scenarios, but it should work. If not, you might want to test it. Let's go ahead and, did I save it? No, let me save it out. And let's close it, save changes. Let me keep on doing that. Grab my incognito view here and let's refresh. So now it's sticky, right? See how it stays at the top? And let's see when I open it, there you go. That's on mobile. Let's see what it looks like on a regular display. So as I scroll down on desktop, you'll see the bar stays at the top. And if I open it, it will show. And when let's say if I keep it open and scroll all the way to the top, you can see that none of the content of the page is hidden. And when I close it, it'll, pull it back up. So it still has that sliding push functionality, even with the fixed or sticky position in place. Pretty cool. All right. See if we have any questions. Okay, so I do have some questions. Oh, you're welcome, Sandy. Mad the demand, or Mad the Dam, sorry. What's that layers window on the left? Sorry. Yes, I see that someone already answered that for you. Thanks, Grant. Yes, it is at the bottom or bottom right whenever you're editing or opening the save or settings menu. Um, I'll have to move it because my head is hiding it. So I'll move my settings over here to the right. It's this one here. That's your layers view icon. So Sandy says she had to leave. This video will be published for later viewing. It will be on our YouTube and Facebook, our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. So you can check that out later. A trucker asks, are we going to be making a full screen overlay nav menu at some point? Thanks for the support there. I think we already have. In fact, if you search our blog, I'm sure there's one there you can follow along and make. We've added a lot of custom menus and created tutorials for those. So you might want to check out, do a search on our blog for that. Under our Divi resources category, you should find that. All right. We have a question. How would you implement on hover? On hover. Well, I didn't really test it out, but theoretically, you could just, open the code module. Oops. Go to my layers view, open my code module, and change this, click function to a hover, or I can't zoom right now for some reason, but right there, change it from click to hover, and you should be able to get that. I'm afraid of what might happen if I do that, but let's see. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, it does. But the problem with that is you're going to have to, you don't stay hovered over it. So you're going to have, it would take some tweaking of the code to make it work, but that's the idea. Okay. Let's, I think that's all our questions. Let's go ahead and check over here. Donna says she missed the beginning. I apologize, but this video will be up for later viewing. Kenneth asked why we're still showing old ads on Facebook. Sorry, I don't know. I'm not the guy to ask. Do you have some... Cabell or Cabell, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but asked, do you have some CSS training? Not specifically like from Divi, or I'm sorry, from Elegant Themes, but I mean, not like any official courses, if that's what you're looking at. But we do have some, we do teach as we go along in our tutorials. Can we just mobile view so it's not full screen? Yes, you could. Just play with that height that we gave the top menu section. We gave that a custom height on tablet. You can just adjust it there. All right. All right, let's go ahead and stop there. I appreciate you guys feedback. Paswan, I believe, is really adamant about something about an apple header or make an apple header. I'm not sure. Um, so Chucker had another quick comment or question. Can you overlay the content instead of pushing the content down? Um, you could, but this tutorial was kind of all about that functionality. So if you, we have other tutorials on menus that would do similar effects of what you're looking for. So again, search our blog for those. All right, let's go ahead and bring this to a close. All right, so that's all I got for you this week. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We sure do hope that you enjoyed our Divi use case live stream, and I hope the push menu works out. Please be sure to subscribe to our blog newsletter, our YouTube channel, and of course, like us on Facebook. That way we can, make sure that you're notified every single time we have something new for you. Also, don't forget our next Divi use case live stream next Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Check that out. And our next live stream is actually this Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, with the weekly WP Roundup. So exciting things coming up as usual. And don't forget to check out the blog description for a way for you to contribute your own unique content to our blog. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys in our next video.